Our story today, folks, is entitled The Trouble with Harry. Harry P. Bud Grant, that is. You see, Grant has his Minnesota Vikings on top of the NFC Central once again this year. But old Harry P. Grant has this one problem. Whenever he plays the St. Louis Cardinals, which isn't often, he usually loses. In fact, Bud's boys have lost their last 3 meetings with the Redbirds, all by wide margins. But today he's facing a Cardinal team that has won only 2 of its 8 games. Still, history has Bud Grant a little nervous. History plus some talented players on the St. Louis roster. O.J. Anderson, the Cardinals' productive running back, is one such athlete. It's been a few weeks since O.J. has rushed for the century mark in a game, and today might be the time to break out. And Neil Lomax, now firmly in charge at quarterback, will also try to keep the Cardinal Viking Trouble with Harry story alive and well for at least another season. So don't touch that dial, folks. On paper, this game looks like a mismatch. The front-running Vikings at 6-2 against the cellar-dwelling St. Louis Cardinals from Busch Stadium. But like we said, strange things happen when these two teams get together, and today will be no exception. Can the pro team that has given up the most points and committed the most turnovers beat a first-place squad like Minnesota, a squad that appears to be breezing to another division title? Well, anything is possible in the NFL Game of the Week. Statistically, the Minnesota Vikings are ranked second to last in the NFC in total defense. Yet the unit has played well enough to earn victory 6 times in 8 games. And on the Cardinals' first series, the Viking defense seemed quite menacing, thank you to the St. Louis ball carriers. But it was the Cardinal defense that made the game's first big play, an interception by Lionel Washington, number 48. It was the second pro pickoff for the Tulane rookie, and the Cardinals were quick to take advantage as the offense, led by quarterback Neil Lomax, began to move rapidly into scoring position. Key reception from number 80 tight end Doug Marsh blended well with some productive running from number 32 O.J. Anderson, who started early and kept on coming en route to one of his best performances of the season. Inside the 10, Lomax spotted number 83 Pat Tilley with a blue dart, and the Cardinals grabbed the early lead. It was Tilley's 3rd touchdown of the year, and it came because the Cardinal offensive line kept the conference's 2nd-best pass rush far away from a probing Lomax, who had all the time he needed for his throw. The underdog Cardinals had surprisingly broken out on top, and Bud Grant and the Vikings had seen that happen a lot over the years in this series. It was now imperative that the Norsemen respond quickly with something of their own. But St. Louis defensive end Curtis Greer, number 75, had other ideas. Greer's sack came about because number 50 linebacker Bob Harris broke through the middle, slowing up the movement of Viking quarterback Steve Dills. Greer then finished matters appropriately. St. Louis then took over and moved even more quickly than on their previous drive. Once again, Doug Marsh made the key catch, and then Stump Mitchell, number 30, gave the Redbirds a 2-touchdown advantage. Cardinals hadn't been known so much for their offense, which is ranked low in the stats, but 14 quick points were on the board. Where St. Louis is tough is on defense, the number 2 unit in the NFC, and they played like it for most of the first half. Practically everything the Vikings tried was stuffed, stunted, and stopped cold. The Vikings were supposed to be the sack leaders in this game, but it was the Redbird rushers who most often broke into the pass pocket. Run or pass, Minnesota simply could not get rolling. The Cardinals threw up roadblocks at nearly every turn, and the Vikes just kept getting nowhere fast. Was taking his lumps from the Red Rush, but finally midway through the second quarter, he led his team on an impressive 13-play, 96-yard march. Along the way, Dills hit on 5 pass completions. This was Minnesota's deepest penetration of the game so far. And when number 85, Sammy White, made a diving catch, the Vikings were ready to get their first score. It came on an inside burst by number 23, Ted Brown. Although from a distance it looks like your garden variety goal line run, check Brown's activity on the replay. You'll see that a nickname like Terrible Ted would be appropriate, especially to an unfortunate Cardinal defender standing in Brown's way. The St. Louis lead was now cut in half, so Lomax decided to change matters quickly. He just barely missed rebuilding the 2-touchdown margin with one long try. This brought in kicker Neil O'Donohue, who in the previous game had missed 3 field goals that would have given the Cardinals a win. To his credit, O'Donohue put that behind him and coolly drilled a 52-yard dazzler that brought instant redemption. Before this year, O'Donohue had never kicked a successful field goal of 50-plus yards. This was his second 52-yarder of the 1983 season, and it increased the Cardinal lead to 10. Then the Vikings made another costly turnover. This time, free safety Benny Perrin, number 23, intercepted, and once more the Cardinals took advantage. Perrin's pilfering was followed with Lomax hitting number 86, Ken Thompson, for a big game. Less than a minute remained in the half following the catch. O'Donohue then returned to hit for a second field goal, this one of 47 yards, and the St. Louis lead was up to 13. But with just 46 seconds to go on the clock, the Vikings responded with one more score. Steve Dills fired 4 straight completions, the big gainer coming on a sideline pattern from wide receiver Sammy White. Only 3 seconds remained as kicker Benny Ricardo popped a field goal to trim the halftime lead to 10. But for the Vikings and Bud Grant, that Cardinal jinx was still there. The saga of the trouble with Harry Harry Bud Grant that is, would not go away. And the second half would see even more plot twists and an all too familiar Viking tale of woe. For the St. Louis Cardinals, the first half was definitely something to get excited about. The Cardinals had scored 20 or more points in only 3 of their first 8 games, so their 20-point outburst in the opening 30 minutes was good cause for celebration. But St. Louis did not stop at 20. Fueled by the powerful running of Otis Anderson, the Cardinals began the second half in explosive fashion. Anderson's 43-yard burst deserves another look. When number 32 is on his game, he's as good as any runner in the business. His combination of quickness and power is not often seen in backs who weigh more than 220 pounds. The Cardinals stalled at Minnesota's 8-yard line and on fourth down decided that a little trickery couldn't hurt with a 10-point lead. The fake field goal and run gave St. Louis the first down at the Vikings 4. On the next play, Neil Lomax hit number 81, Roy Green, for the touchdown. It was a simple play, perfectly executed. A quick drop by Lomax and a crossing pattern against single coverage by the NFC's leading receiver, the smooth and sure-handed Green. Midway through the third quarter, the Cardinals led 27-10, and they were clearly in control. For a team with only 2 victories, the Cardinals play surprisingly good defense, ranking second in the NFC. Their 4-man front is anchored by Curtis Greer, and against the Vikings, Greer showed why he is among the best sackers in the league. St. Louis was playing well, and the Cardinals extended their third quarter lead to 24 when Anderson raced around the left end for 6 more. Two second-half possessions, 2 touchdowns. St. Louis was ahead 34-10. With only a little more than a quarter left in the game, the Vikings needed at least 4 offensive opportunities just to tie. The swarming Cardinal defense made it difficult for Minnesota to come up with a badly needed big play. But the Vikings got a break on this short pass to Ted Brown. Brown's fumble went out of bounds and the ball remained Minnesota's. The play appeared to produce some controversy, but when the smoke cleared, the 22-yard gain went in the books. 2 plays later, on the second play of the fourth quarter, the Vikings made their first serious bid to come back. Steve Dills found number 84, Sam McCullum, all by his lonesome for a 49-yard touchdown as Minnesota struck quickly. Quickly would have to be the Vikings' primary way of scoring if they were to have any chance at all. On this score, Dills lobbed a lollipop to the wide-open McCullum as the Cardinals experienced a breakdown in their pass coverage. Trailing 34-17, the Vikings needed much more, and as the fourth quarter unfolded, they started to get it. The only way Minnesota could come back would be to stop the Cardinals and then score in a hurry. The defense had to do the job for the Vikings, a job they had been unable to do in the third period. But now in the fourth quarter, Minnesota came up with a big defensive play. The Vikings forced a fumble and recovered at midfield. With still over 11 minutes left in the contest, Minnesota had time to continue its comeback. But the buzzword remained quickly. The Vikings had to score quickly, and they did just that. It took Steve Dills only 4 plays to get Minnesota in the end zone. 22-yard pass to number 44 Dave Casper was followed by a brilliantly executed misdirection run by Ted Brown that brought the ball to the Cardinals' 2-yard line. Dills began the 1983 season as Tommy Kramer's backup, but a knee injury to Kramer gave Dills the job, and he was showing against St. Louis an ability to bring his team from behind. Dills' second touchdown pass of the fourth period, this time to Bob Brewer, number 82, cut St. Louis's lead to 34-24. With 10 minutes still to play, the Vikings were right in the game. Maybe this was the day Bud Grant's Cardinal jinx would finally end. But then again, maybe it wasn't. The Cardinals bounced right back behind the arm of Neil Lomax and the legs of Roy Green. Another look at the 49-yard pass play shows that Lomax laid the ball beautifully into the arms of the streaking Green, who ran right by Minnesota cornerback John Swain. However, on the next play, Swain redeemed himself. He picked off a Lomax pass in the end zone, and it appeared that the Vikings were in excellent shape as they forged ahead with their comeback. But a penalty wiped out the theft. Instead, the Cardinals had the ball first down at the Minnesota 5-yard line. From there, it was the partnership of Lomax and Green, and it paid dividends once again for St. Louis. Lomax's third touchdown toss of the game and second to Green is worth a second look for the ease with which it was executed. A strong play-action fake by Lomax left him free to roll out to the right, and he calmly flipped the ball to Green all by himself in the end zone. The Cardinals had refused to fold in the stretch and now led 41-24. Their young quarterback had equaled his previous best of 3 touchdown passes in a game. But more importantly, he did not yield to the pressure of a tense fourth quarter against the team that knows how to win. The Vikings were not finished. Dills hadn't come this far to throw in the towel with 6 minutes remaining. He marched Minnesota down the field with a variety of short passes, finishing the drive with a 5-yard score to Sammy White. The pass to White was Dills' third touchdown pass of the day, matching Lomax's output and also establishing a career best for the Vikings quarterback. The tight second half had produced its share of tension and frayed nerves, and the hectic pace was taking its toll on the players. But there was still time for the Vikings to make a final run at the 41-31 deficit, and their defense came up big again. A safety blitz forced Lomax to fumble, and the Vikings had the ball in St. Louis territory, trailing by 10 with 3 minutes on the clock. Minnesota simply refused to quit. Could the Vikings really pull this one out? The answer was no. An attempted surprise reverse ended in a 13-yard loss, and the Vikings, moments before brimming with optimism, now faced a situation that bordered on the desperate. On fourth down, Dills forced out of the pocket and running for his life threw the interception that sealed Minnesota's fate. This final gasp by the Vikings was picked off by Benny Parrott and warrants another look. Dills had no chance to do anything in the face of a strong rush, yet he had to get rid of the ball in the hope that a teammate would come down with it. It was not to be. Perrin finally wrapped up St. Louis's third victory of the season, but not before the Cardinals got a real scare from Minnesota. The Vikings suffered their third loss of the year, but remain firmly in control of first place in the NFC Central, where inconsistency is the name of the game. As for the Cardinals, they have not lost in a month and appear to be getting things together after a rocky start that saw them lose 5 of their first 6. An improving defense has been one Cardinal key the past 3 weeks. But perhaps most important in the recent success has been the steady development of Neil Lomax at quarterback. If Lomax continues to get better each week, the Cardinals' offense will gain a much-needed consistency. For now, the entire team can be happy with a win, for that's what St. Louis needed most. The final score, St. Louis 41, Minnesota 31.